Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us once again. I am the Victorian Cowboy. We are here in the Witcher, the Blood of Elves book club. Today we are finishing our discussion of Chapter 1. Again, I apologize that these sections have been shorter. I've broken it down because the chapters are about 50 pages each. And sometimes my life does not allow me to get through that, so I figure breaking it bite-sized pieces, we're all good. For those of you who have been commenting, thank you. I really appreciate it. I hope we get some... I've really been learning a lot, and I've been enjoying the discussion. That's what I wanted this to be, as a discussion, so let's continue doing it. Now, on to this. Last time we talked about how Yennefer had just saved Dandelion from Reince, who she discusses as not being a super powerful sorcerer. He had help from somebody else, according to her, because that portal is some hard magic, but she did throw some sinister stuff back through it, though she does refuse to use necromancy, even though Dandelion really wants to know who's trying to get at him. So that's just some of the base magic thing. Dandelion, of course, is really thankful because he was going to be killed there, even if he told them what they wanted to know, so Yennefer saved him that. Though Dandelion doesn't know even how to get to Kaer Morhen, which is where the Witcher, or where he assumes the Witcher has gone, which at the end of the chapter we see, yes, Geralt has taken Ciri to Kaer Morhen. Yennefer constantly tells Dandelion to just drop the whole issue, don't worry about it, it'll be all good. And what I liked about this was just some of the little details we see. So Dandelion makes a note that Yennefer is eating the chicken with a fork and a knife, and he's only ever seen one other person do that, and that person is Geralt. And Dandelion infers that, well, obviously spending a year with Yennefer, Geralt picked up some of these traits, and so you get to see that Geralt gets civilized a little bit, or humanized, especially seeing as most people view witches as murderers, like monster murderers, or like Geralt has the title the Butcher of Blackhaven, and yet you hear Dandelion talk about some of these more civilized, or even I'd say humanizing factors that show that he isn't necessarily what the rumors say he is. So I thought that was really interesting. We also see that that Yennefer actually doesn't mind Dandelion as much, and is actually really thankful that he traveled with Geralt and kept Geralt company, because she could not, and she, you can see how much she cares about Geralt, and if you've read the prequels, you know how much Geralt cares about her. But it's interesting to see the fact that these are two people who really struggle in a relationship with each other, but really care about each other. So just seeing that and seeing how thankful she is that he was with her, even if he doesn't think he was much of a help, is... And he even goes on to say that he was more of a hindrance, because he kept causing these issues where Geralt needed to save him. And he hasn't seen Geralt since that time at the river, so he doesn't know anything about it. He's just written kind of what he's been thinking about. So he doesn't know about Geralt's injuries or him actually finding Ciri, which I think is fascinating. And he can't bring himself to say the name Kaer Morhen, which is the Witcher Castle, which I also think is interesting, especially for the poet who tends to know everything, and who apparently is acting as a spy, because they talk about Dijkstra, who is one of the spy masters for one of the kingdoms, and apparently Yennefer is also working for that particular spy master. And also we find out that it's an Nilfgaardian that was trying to get the information out of him. Reince, just in the way he refers to things, Dandelion picks up just on his word choice about the Battle of Sintra and stuff like that, as opposed to the massacre. He can note which side of the war or which nationality this individual was. So I think that's really fascinating, and leads to why having a good ear, listening to what people are saying, listening to how they say it, is important. Now, the thing I really like about the end of this chapter, with the Witcher and Ciri arriving at Kaer Morhen, we find that there are 4 other witches there. There's Eskel Vesemir, Lambert and Cohen. And Ciri's scared until Geralt again puts a hand on her shoulder and shows her that he stands with her as opposed to against her, because she's feeling very out of place. It's a fish out of water experience for her, as she's there with these 4 other people who are all scarred and hardened, and Geralt is the only one that she really feels safe with so far. And yet Geralt stands with her, puts his hand on his shoulder and says, "She is our destiny." And he hesitates there, which I think is telling, because he's still struggling with the idea of it just being his destiny. And he's recognizing that, while she may have been destined to him, there may still be a bigger picture for this destiny. And so I'm interested to see how other people in the witches' circle there at Kaer Morhen respond, especially since Ciri's a woman, or a girl in this case. She's not a woman yet, but how they're going to respond to her, and how they're going to train her and help her along, because apparently there's some issue with her being female as opposed to male for the other ones. So it'll be really interesting to see that, and I'm looking forward to reading more into this. But I think it's just really interesting that Kaer Morhen, like, it's understandable that it would be more of a ruin, because who's going to go into a ruined castle, whereas if it was still in pristine shape, that would cause some people to want to visit. But the rats there, and just how run down it is kind of interesting, and it goes towards witches being more subhuman and more willing to live in these undesirable positions, which I think is an interesting take on who they are, and I'd like to see more of that, just to see this sense of how they live. But no, I'm really caught up with the way they ended with "she's our destiny." That "our destiny" bit is I think really telling, and I want to see how destiny is going to play out, because I'm not entirely sure what's going to happen with it and how it's going to affect the other how it's going to affect the other witches there. So that's where we stopped. That's the end of chapter 1. Chapter 2 again is another 50 pages. I'll be getting more installments of that up, ideally again 1 to 2 days from now, trying to keep them regular, keep everybody up to date. So with that being said, thank you for listening. Please comment, talk with us. I would love to hear some of your thoughts. I mean, I'm loving reading the comments that I am getting, and just hearing the background of, or like some of the real life political things going on in these different areas, like Poland in the 90s. Things that I, growing up on the west coast of the United States, don't know, or like these different perspectives coming in are really fascinating to me and really eye-opening, and I'm excited about learning about them, and am excited to learn more. So thank you for those of you who are commenting. If you're watching and just following along, please read the comments. There's some really interesting things being discussed. And if you want to add anything, feel free. Thank you for watching. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of our video. We do hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, give us a like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you thought, and as always, have a good one.